Our institutions have become corrupt. Unconstitutional agencies are infringing on your rights. What will it take for you to open your eyes to the tyranny at hand? You're an American, born with unalienable rights, yet those rights are being trampled every day by unelected busybodies. Your liberty was secured by strong men and women of yesterday. Are you willing to let it slip away? You're listening to the Dangerous Info Podcast with Jesse James.
Jesse James. Jesse James. Come on, Jesse. Jesse James. I'm ready right now. Time is wasted.
The Lord for our Constitution. I also want to thank the NRA for its legacy. The National Rifle Association was founded by religious leaders who wanted to protect free slaves from the Ku Klux Klan. They would raise money, buy arms, show the free slaves how to use those arms, and protect their families. God bless you. Many of us probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the NRA.
But let me just briefly say that gun control, for black Americans, we know that gun control has ultimately been about people control. It sprouts from racist soil, be it after or during the infamous Dred Scott case, where black man's humanity was not recognized. And the beauty about some racists is that sometimes they're blatantly honest. And the racist Chief Justice, Taney, said, we cannot allow the law to recognize the humanity of this individual because he would be able to keep and bear arms. When a lot of Democratic-controlled segregationist governments after the Civil War attempted to deny black men and women their freedom, they instituted black codes, largely to deny the Second Amendment from newly freed slaves.
Right after the Emancipation Proclamation, what was going on down in the southern states, it's very clear that the Dixiecrats wanted to disarm black people to keep us from defending ourselves against the Klansmen who were murdering white and black Republicans to control the ballot box. So I think history is ripe with examples of there's a correlation, direct correlation between gun control and black people control.
This current administration is far from the truth. This agenda is becoming more and more obvious to all, that it's a distraction. It's a reason, it's an excuse to carry out an ideology that is more evident every day and every week that goes by, that it is anti-American. And when you touch the Second Amendment, you can't become more anti-American, because America would not be without her guns, and guns would not be necessary without her God. We call upon Americans, both black, white, Hispanics, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and even those who are not of our faith to agree upon this. Without God, without guns, and without the Constitution, America's end will come with haste. For when they change our Constitution, they will take our guns.
Welcome to Clown World, a world in which you can get free crack pipes from Brandon. But Nobel Prize-winning ivermectin is deemed unproven. Yes, patriots, this is the reality these tyrants expect you to believe. You're listening to the Dangerous Info Podcast with Jesse James.
Yes, everybody. Monday. It is Monday, December 11th, 2023. Welcome to the spiritual battle of our lives. This is not the same world we grew up in. The race to 2030 is now 2025, and the spirits of the Nephilim giants have been passed on to the satanic international elite, and they're trying to gain control over humanity. Will we wake up in time for the coming struggle? Well, we're going to find out soon enough. And in the end, remember, God wins. Tonight's show sponsor is DangerousOffGrid.com. Because food security is your paramount. Learn to harden your skills while we still have the time to do so and the means to do so. Got to get those skills learned up, get them taught up, and get them worked up. Please visit DangerousOffGrid.com to prepare yourself for the coming struggle, all right? It's going to be real. You got to have these skills to get on there and do things right for your family. I want to give a big shout out to all the live viewers tonight and the podcast listeners for later. Please like and share if you guys have all a like button down there. And on Rumble, I know you have a like button, so please like and share. Tell all your friends about the show. I'm going to be checking on the Super Chats, the Rumble Rants, the Gold Pills, and if you guys want to get your questions and comments here right now and throughout the show, we can check those through DangerousSuperChats.com. So go to DangerousSuperChats.com. You can get your brand new comments into the show tonight for our guests and for me and Outcast, all right? Also, if you guys want to leave us an email, we might open up the lines tonight, or a voicemail, 248-238-8155. There's a couple things we need to check on that tonight. Tonight's episode, it's a big one, you guys. It's going to be a big one. Shall Not Infringe, featuring Rick Ector, episode number 126. Yes, it's another nice Monday night. Man, after a long show, a long week of shows this week, it's going to be back on Monday night again, you guys. I want to give a big shout out to our subscribe stars tonight. These are our current monthly subscribe stars, and I want to shout them out. Biffer Mac, Fire Doug, The Ryan Mansfield Show, Carmen Rosario, Jill Bark, Chad Geyer, Manny Espejo, Michelle Yerkes, Ham Hock, Dwayne and Teresa Lazowski, Heidi Human, Pastor Eric King, Steph Me, Cheryl E., and Bonnie Moriarty. How you doing there, Outcast? Looks like you're sitting
right
there
here.
praying.
I'm frozen up here. Let me.
Yeah, you're frozen up just a little bit. But listen, you guys, we want to say a big thank you for supporting independent media like this. And remember, we're not sponsored by Pfizer, right? We're sponsored by you guys. You guys are the informed audience of the Dangerous Info Podcast, and we appreciate you guys being here and being with us and supporting everything that we're doing. So I can't wait to get you guys on. And, pretty soon we're going to have a good show tonight. We have Rick Ector. He's been on. This is his third time tonight, you guys. So it's going to be a good time to see his face. And when Outcast gets back on here in just a second, we're going to see his face too. We have a birthday tonight. And Outcast, if you remember tonight's birthday, we have Padlock J from our Patriot text thread. Brother Padlock. Happy birthday.
He always submits some fantastic content for our Patriot text thread, doesn't he?
He does. If you guys could see that text thread and be a part of that, that's awesome. So big happy birthday going on Padlock J tonight. So enjoy it, brother. People saying hi to you, Outcast. We had a lot of shows that we did over the week, and I just did a surprise one on Saturday that we had to. Hello, Ivan L. Hamhock, how you guys doing? Music Lover, how you guys doing? Hey, where you guys at tonight? Anybody out there in the live chat? Where are you watching from? What state? Where you guys at? I see Fire Doug. He's out there. Yeah, we've been busy. We've been really busy with these shows this week, and that's all right. We wanted to go in that direction, and that's all right. So Ivan L's in the living room. And obviously not in Michigan. She's out there somewhere else. But all right, Outcast.
I keep freezing up. I don't know what's going on.
I know. Yeah, it must be some connection issues. Speaking of connection issues, I want to talk about this new movie that came out on Netflix. It's one of those Obama productions, right? We talked about it yesterday just a little bit. And that talking about connection issues, that's one thing that was in that show last night. So a lot of people on social media are talking about this. I don't know if you have seen it yet, Outcast, but we need to talk about it a little bit. All right.
All right. Can you hear me? Because my screen is frozen.
Yeah, I hear you, and it looks like you're just stuck there frozen. So you can try back and forth, coming on back and forth, whatever. But let me see. Upcoming guests. We have Pastor Gabe, your pastor, right, Outcast?
Yes,
coming
sir.
up. Yeah, coming up for what next it's next Monday. He's coming on. So it's just the show that we're doing just before Christmas time, and I invite you guys to come and check that out. It's going to be a good time, and he's going to bring a lot of fire as far as what you're talking about, Outcast. You talked to him before, and, well, you talk to him every week, but it's going to be a good time to have him on the show. I can't wait to hear what he's got to say. So, Christmas is already so close, you guys, and I've tried everything I do to slow time down. You know, we talked about it before. I just can't do it. Can't slow time down. It just, I don't know. It's got a mind of its own, and it just keeps on going. So it's crazy. Outcast, do we have any feedback that you want to get into tonight? Before we get into the show,
you had one from former guest prior guest Richard Sanchez, and then we had you had one from oh darn it, you sent to me earlier. It was really good. I'll tell you.
That was today, correct?
K-Dub.
Yeah, it was from K-Dub. All right, so you guys, you know what? Here's a thing too. We have our gilded chat room, you guys, and a lot of you guys are on there, and you're able to hang out and do things there, talk to each other, see each other. It's a great place to be. Everybody that's on Twitch right now, these people are all in the chat room, and we hope you guys join the chat room and become part of this family. All right, you can go down to the description of the show. You'll see it right now. Just scroll down right there, and it says become a part of, I think, Gilded Chat Room. Go in there and join up and become a member, because we have a good time in there. There's always people doing stuff and sharing special messages and information. I mean, it's awesome, right? It's a great place to prep for the show, plus also to get ready for the show, you know, or to like, I don't know, kind of like having a show online that's you're chatting to each other instead of something like this right here. Explain it if you can a little bit more, okay?
Actually, I'm a little distracted with the fact that I'm frozen again. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you can come back in if you want. I don't know what it is. It sounded like Rumble is having some trouble.
Okay.
And, you know, let me see. I'm looking right here. It says, yeah, Rumble's been having some trouble, some DDS attacks. So that's, you know, I was trying to get on Rumble earlier just to check some things out before the show, and I was having a hard time. It says Rumble was down all day today, and it is still. So, there's always something going on, brother. It's always out of our control. And did we talk about this with Rick earlier?
Yeah.
So listen, here's some feedback, you guys. I want to give you guys a little bit of feedback. This is from K-Dub. This is the one you talked about, and he sent it to me on the Gilded chat room earlier today. Talking about that, we were talking about that movie that we're just, that Obama movie that I was just mentioning. And that movie is called Leave the World Behind. Okay, we'll get into that in just a little while, but this is what he said. He was just answering something that I was giving him some feedback on. He goes, as I was watching it, I suddenly got the sense that it was a blend of possible predictive programming elements, as in A, could happen, B, could happen, C, could happen, etc. I mean, he's laying a lot of this stuff out, but maybe I'll read that part later, but the gist of what he's talking about is right here. He says, now that I've seen the example after example, and he didn't know about it until the whole concept of predictive programming was something I never even heard of until I learned about it from you guys and this Patriot family. But now that I've seen example after example, well, I hope this movie is just a movie. But if it's somehow also a message of mockery, again, I turn to this family with a grateful heart and say thank you for every contribution and every scrap of wisdom that's been shared, because I do feel so much more prepared than I ever would have been if I had not found or not had the privilege of meeting everyone here. It seems like every day now, the stay dangerous, that's in quote, stay dangerous mindset becomes more and more real and more fundamentally essential for the path forward.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of irony is it that they play this movie on Netflix yesterday, and now I'm looking in the comments here, and everybody everywhere is having issues, not just Rumble, but Monster Mike said that there was a local restaurant in his area that was having issues with their satellite TVs all day or all afternoon. Boy, isn't that just coincidental?
It is, you know, and I'm not putting it past anybody. I mean, we know a lot of things are coordinated. Fire Dog's asking where we can catch that movie. It's on Netflix. It just came out. I mean, if you go on Instagram, you'll see all these, you know, all the all the big whatever you want to call them, the conspiracy type of channels are talking about it because they're trying to explain it. And we'll get into it. We might as well get into it right now. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
and just before, I'm not an expert on because I didn't see it, but I just want to say this too. Isn't it funny that there's an entire Christian series of movies called Left Behind, and then it's called Leave the World Behind?
Yeah.
I mean, everything that they do is like a gaslight slap in the face to me.
Yeah, it is.
It's funny.
Well, that's what they get. That's where they get their power from. So let's just get into it right now and my thoughts on it. So this is Leave the World Behind on Netflix, you guys. And again, like I said, a lot of people are talking about it. And I get it. If you're like, this is my overall take on it. You would text me last night and said, "Hey, dude, you got to watch this movie." And at that time, we were watching it. The wife turned it on. When she turned it on last night, I noticed. I looked up and said, "Oh, that's that movie that the Obamas are part of." And she's like, "Oh no, what do you mean?" And so I said, "Well, there's production behind it, or they're behind it." And I said, be expected to see some things in the background or some themes or something on the wall in the background or in somebody's shirt. Or I said, it's going to probably be full of all that stuff. And of course it was. I can't watch things right now without noticing all that stuff. And I know a lot of you guys out there are the same way. You start seeing it. Once you see the stuff and that's what we're going to get from Hollywood because that's all they do, is send these kind of things. It's hard to unsee any of these things now. So I'm used to seeing them. And they show up everywhere in TV shows and, movies and just even commercials, this stuff shows up in. So anyway, let's get going on this. It says, the film, a post-apocalyptic drama starring Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali, Ethan Hawke, Kevin Bacon, was produced by Higher Ground Productions. That's the company founded by former U.S. President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle. And it's adapted from the 2020 novel, by the same name by Rahman Alam. And it's called Leave the World Behind. The book follows a society that unravels after a technological infrastructure from phones to TVs, all electronics starts to collapse. And I'm telling you guys, there is a ton of okay, so let's go back to this. If you're just a normie, right? You're going to watch this movie and say, wow, this is dystopic and it could happen. And, look at this stuff. And, it's going to freak you out. But if you're a seasoned vet of dystopian nonsense that we talk about on this show all the time, you'll see it for what it is. Now, it's not horrible, okay? It's actually pretty good, but you can see their blatant attempt to subvert the normie mind in this. And if anybody's out there watching that did watch it, you can chime in on the chat room here. You will see things that, like I saw some things right away, and I just kind of laughed at them because I was like, oh, of course, that's so ridiculous. It's so obvious. You'll see one of the kids, he's got this t-shirt on and it says Obey on it. It's that classic Obey t-shirt with that guy's kind of a cartoon face. You know what I'm talking about? I forgot the guy's name in that.
Shepard Fairey, is that who it is?
I think so, yeah. And it says Obey on it. Well, his younger sister has a shirt on that says NASA. The round earth with the NASA logo on it, right? And they're walking around, they're doing stuff, they're teenagers. And in a few scenes, you'll see the brother's to the left and she's to the right, and it says Obey NASA. So it says Obey NASA. And then they have these scenes that go back to, it looks like there's a camera outside of Earth looking over Earth and then at a satellite and to the moon and sun and all. They're promoting stuff. Okay. They're promoting things. You can see that. Then there is, in the background, of the main bedroom that's in the house that they're at. Look at there's a big, on the wall. It's a big portrait. I don't know what you call it, portrait or what it is, but it's
a mural.
It's
like a giant photograph. I saw pictures of it online. It's a giant, like a wall photograph that covers the entire wall behind that, like for a headboard of the bed.
Yeah. Yep. But the funny thing is, every scene when they go to it, it's a different thing on the wall. So sometimes it's like a calm sea. Sometimes it's a real, rough sea, because it's giving signals out. It's if you're paying attention,
Well, because it gets progressively worse. It goes from like a calm,
Yes.
and then it gets more, and the imagery changes behind the bed as it starts to get choppier in the movie.
Exactly. Yep. And it was directed with let me see. It says Barack Obama got high praise from director Sam Esmail after the two collaborated on the new Netflix thriller Leave the World Behind. The former president and first lady Michelle Michael was executive producer on the film, gave Ismail a lot of notes. So they collaborated with this guy who, and I know that name. I know that he's done a lot of other movies that we've all watched before. I just can't picture who he is, Sam Ismail.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you guys gotta see it.
Not to get ahead of you, but what I heard about it today was, and I think you may have sent me a little synopsis, but one of the things that struck me was it kind of explains that it makes reference to a cabal that runs the world.
Yep, more than once. Now I don't want to give it away because there's so many people who have not seen it yet.
Oh, so don't say anything? Okay. All right.
No, you could say stuff, but I'm just not going to. It brings up a lot of references, like the Friends reference. It brings that up and a lot of things because of, remember Matthew Perry just died here, a couple months back? There's some things
and then don't forget that Julia Roberts is in it, and she dated Matthew Perry at one time. There's another connection there.
Yep. Well, and she's really good friends with George Clooney, and they've all been together on somebody's yacht with Obama and other people who, if you're on a big yacht, big boat, and you go to some islands or something, it's crazy. So there's that aspect to it too. Go ahead.
Now, did I hear correctly that one of the premises is that the cabal has disappeared or fallen apart?
Well,
and then
that's
the world is spiraling.
So yeah,
the world is spiraling because there's nothing to guide it or something.
Yeah. So if you take that route and go, if you're a normie mind and you're watching this, because they do promote and they hint all around at climate change, but they don't ever say it. They try to imply it. Like, look at what we've done. Look at what us humans have done to this place, and a complete godless movie at all. Okay, totally complete godless stuff going on here. They don't ever mention it, but they do mention the cabal and the leaders at the top. So they get into some of the conspiratorial talk that you'll hear us say a lot of the time because we're calling them out on what they do, on these deeds that they do. So it's kind of crazy when that happens, because they try to set the stage up for people who don't know what's going on. But people who do know what's going on, you guys are going to see right through it, right? But I'm telling you, it's pretty good. Now, the music that they use and the sound effects is kind of corny. It kind of annoyed me a little bit. You'll see that Julia Roberts, her character, she loses her mind. She can't. She's the last person I want to be around if there's something that ever goes down in the world, because she's just annoying. She's running around. She's saying, we got to get back to the city, all this stuff. It's just, then you guys will see what the Tesla cars do. You'll see what AI kind of takes over and all that stuff. Then it tries to portray Kevin Bacon, and who's in the movie, his character, and it talks about him. They try to portray him because he is a big time prepper in here. He's got the guns. He's got the American flag. He's got, the food. He's got, he planned for the worst thing ever. And of course, the worst thing happened here, and he was ready for it. Now, people start coming to him to ask for help and everything. And he's like, no. I'm not going to do this. I'm doing this. And, so he gives out his, he's got his lines to say, but the way that they portray him is exactly the way I would expect somebody from the Obama camp to portray somebody like that. They try to push some racist bullshit, but it doesn't seem to jump off, which is good. They try to push it with the daughter of the main character, and the main character guy, his name is he's a black guy. And he's been in a ton of movies. We've seen him before. He's good. That's Mahershala Ali. I can't place him, but he's been in a lot of good stuff. He's a good actor, but it's his daughter. His daughter gets annoying. And you'll see it if you guys see it. You'll see what I mean. And and even with her, there's some stuff going on with her that she's got some tattoos and things that are on her that you're going to try to look at. You're going to try to see it. But it's wild. I'm going to let you guys, I don't want to give it away. I think it's pretty good. If you're a normie, you're going to really enjoy it, but you know, it's all right. Go ahead.
Hey, I keep freezing up. Do you want me? I'm thinking about like logging all the way out. I don't even, maybe even restarting my computer. My surfboard's freaking out. I can see something. It's blinking like crazy.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. Why don't you get your, you can do that. I don't know if it's your computer or not, but it's just about 7:30 and we got to get Rick on here. He's in the green room. He's been checking us out and watching the whole time. So yeah, go ahead and do what you got to do, brother. And when you come back,
sorry about that, everybody.
That's all right.
Sorry.
That's all right. It's going to take a couple minutes. And while you do that, I'm going to read over a few of these things going on here in the rooms, right? In the chat room. So looks like we have Trusty Turnup. What's going on, Trusty? Over here in the Pilled Foxhole. She says, yeah, NASA, never a straight answer. Yeah. Or you can say not a space agency too. Yep. So good evening to you guys over there on Pilled Foxhole. Got a bunch of people over here on the Twitch. I'm going to start putting your guys' stuff up on the screen. Monster Mike, Ham Hock, everybody's having a good time over on Twitch. It's like they're all in the hot tub and the sauna and all that, spilling drinks everywhere. So they're having a good time. A bunch of people in Rumble. What's going on in Rumble, people? Fire Doug. If you guys please hit that like button over there in Rumble. That helps us out a lot, big time. And we got to get that, growing show. We got to have that stuff. So please hit that like button. If you guys have any comments or, things you want to add to the show, you can also do that out there. DangerousSuperChats.com. That's DangerousSuperChats.com. And as you can see, the screen is a little offset because Outcast is trying to reboot and see what's going on with his computer. But let me look at my notes here and see what else I have. Because there's a few things I wanted to get started before we meet with Rick tonight. And let me see. Yeah, the Tucker and Alex Jones thing. So you guys have probably by now seen the Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones interview from the other night. Kind of again with, let me see here. What is it? There is what Alex brought that day, really good stuff for people that was, 10 years ago. Okay. I think what he did is because the normies are waking up now. Normies, 10 years ago when normies heard this stuff, they either didn't believe it or called us crazy people for saying these kind of things. But the atmosphere out there now is people are listening to this kind of stuff. So it was good that Tucker had him back on. Even though a lot of us have heard all the stuff that Alex said 10, 12 years ago, right? So I think when he comes back again on that show, he'll probably bring new heat that people, today are on. Okay. So it's almost like a phase has gone, like a couple phases. That interview with that Mike, Monster Mike, you're asking, go to Twitter. There's clips everywhere now, but, yeah, people are really opening up to it now. So, people that have been watching and paying attention to these kind of things for the last, 10, 15, whatever years, it's everything Alex said before in the past, but now it's to a bigger audience who's more willing to accept what he said in the past, because most of that stuff came true. You guys realize that, right? There's a lot of stuff out there that sounds crazy, but it's all true now. So, I'm just glad that Tucker is bringing him, giving him a platform, and Alex has his Twitter channel back now. So that's a good thing. I think it's in the big long run, it's going to open up more minds, right? And it's going to get people thinking of what the heck is really going on, because there's been a lot of us out there that's been way out in front of all this stuff, and it's good to see these old themes come back. It's kind of nostalgic. Even though we're on to newer things, and so was Alex. He already knows all that stuff. But I think the way he did it, he brought all that stuff to back to not future, but back to current events, and it made it. It's going to make your mom and your uncles who never pay attention to this stuff. It's going to make them ask questions and really start to paying attention. So I'm glad he did it. Welcome to all that, and. It should be fun. Now, another thing, I want to say a big a shout out to our guest that we had on Saturday. If you guys didn't check that show out Saturday, we had a good one. And it was, let me go back. I'm going to scroll back here and find our episodes for, so episode 125, we just did Saturday morning. It was a special edition that was kind of, it just happened because there was a speed was necessary for the show to happen on Saturday, because there's a school board meeting in Oxford tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So we kind of had to put this thing together, and we did. And Outcast had family, obligations he had to do Saturday, so he couldn't make it, which is okay. We had Dr. Sean Brooks. He came and filled in. Now our guests were Kristen Carr and Bobby Roop, and they're from the group Truth for Oxford, and you can find that on Facebook. So Truth for Oxford, they came on. We had a great talk. I think it was like 2 hours, you guys. It was a great talk, great chat, a lot of things back and forth, a lot of information was passed on, and it's got really good legs. I mean, it's really good numbers going on. We also dropped on Thursday last week a Dangerous Reboot, episode 15 with Compton Conservative, Sister Verita. You guys know who she is, right? She has that Daughters of God ministry, and we did a whole Christmas thing about it. But that was our second Dangerous Reboot, and those are doing pretty good. It's the old shows that you guys haven't heard or weren't around for. Those were all on audio, so we're bringing those back. We're freshening them up with a little, 6-7 minute intro of what we thought of that show and what we were doing. Good night, Ivan L. Thanks for being here. Yep, we'll see you next week. So Dangerous Reboot was Thursday. Now Wednesday we had a big show. That was Nephilim Strongholds with featuring Dr. Laura Sanger. We talked about the Nephilim agenda, spiritual mapping, music frequencies, which is blow your mind, and the Seed War stuff. So I would like you guys to get in there and listen to that. That was from Wednesday. And then, of course, Monday, episode 123, was Headlines and Holidays. We did current events, Rudolph's story, Henry Kissinger stuff, the COP28 climate change meeting that they did, and all that New Zealand dystopia stuff. So busy week last week. Man, it was crazy. But we could do more of that. I enjoy that stuff. So look, Outcast, he's still not here. And I see that Rick is in the green room, and I need to take a break so we can get Rick in here, but Outcast is not here yet. So I'll tell you what, Outcast can jump in when he's ready, when his computer's ready, and we'll just do it. All right. So we'll get his prayer on the other side of this too. So let's go to a little break. And on the other side, I'm going to start introducing our guest tonight, Rick Ector. And hopefully Outcast jumps in, and we'll see how it all plays out here in just a minute. So this is the Dangerous Info Podcast, you guys. Again, hit the like button if you have it. Hit the share button. Send it out to friends, whatever it is. So, Dangerous Info Podcast. We'll be right back after this, you guys, on the other side. A couple minutes.
I got some bussin' news for Gen Z, for real, no cap. Yee ass haircut. A federal judge has struck down the federal prohibition on 18 to 21-year-olds purchasing handguns. Straight drippin', for real, now you can get the Gucci Glock. So much for the media's lies, right? Telling us that Gen Z is the most anti-gun generation. Turns out they're the most conservative and pro-gun generation. It's almost like people that run boomer media don't understand that the internet allows us to fact check everything, and we don't have to eat the bullshit you feed us. Now here's some quotes from the judge on the case. Law-abiding adults shouldn't have their Second Amendment rights infringed upon. No cap. And he cites New York versus Bruin, saying that the ATF has not been able to provide any evidence that there was age-based restrictions through the majority of our nation's history. And he says the ATF's regulations and restrictions do not align with the Second Amendment. The ATF's motion to dismiss was denied. And defendants are enjoined, that's the ATF, are enjoined, which means prevented from enforcing this rule. This is nationwide, my friends, so I'm sure states are going to fight it. But right now, a NICS background check will automatically decline you. But reality is, the ATF cannot enforce this rule. You're allowed to go buy pistols. You just can't do it with the NICS system as it is. I'm sure there'll be an emergency review on this, but This is big news. This is huge news, guys. You should have never had your rights restricted in the first place. This is good news for Gen Z.
Do you want to be a sponsor of the Danger Simple podcast? It's quick and easy to do, fellow patriots. Simply go to subscribestar.com, buzzsprout.com, or any other support choices listed in the description of this episode and join us today. We aren't beholden to mainstream media narratives because we aren't mainstream media. If that's important to you, then we need your support to continue to grow and spread the message of free speech and the truth. We are just one small show out here competing with these globalist-funded, script-reading shit shows. We aren't down with dystopian nonsense. We're down with freedom-loving, liberty-seeking patriots like yourselves. We are the Danger Simple Podcast. Please join us today. Stay dangerous, my patriot friends. Stay dangerous.
Oh, man. All right, you guys, we're back. And I want to introduce Rick Ector tonight. And this is what I wrote down for him. I said the gun grabbers are at it again, and this time it's right here in Michigan. NRA Board Member Director, or NRA Board of Director member Rick Ector is back with us again, his third time, you guys. And tonight it's time to alert Michigan residents about his next live appearance to discuss gun law changes in Michigan, red flag gun laws, long gun registration, and firearm storage law. He's going to have an event that's going to be held at Recoil Firearms in Troy, Michigan. There are going to be 2 sessions, 12 to 2 and 4 to 6. And Rick's going to let us know when that is in just a second here. If you guys want to go to Legally Armed Detroit or legallyarmedindetroit.com. That's legallyarmedindetroit.com. And there he is, Rick, Mr. Rick Ector. How you doing, sir? Hey, I think your microphone is still muted, brother. Yep, bring that microphone back on.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, brother. How you doing? Rick Ector, everybody.
Man, again, I got to repeat myself. I was muted. I'm doing great, man. Glad to be back. Just for the listening audience, this is my 3rd appearance.
That's right.
I'm looking for the hat trick. What do I get for being on my 3rd appearance?
A free AR-15. Outcast going to give it to you. Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Glad to be back, and you guys are still going strong. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. You were plugging my event, man, and I want to thank you very much for that. Everyone in the state of Michigan maybe has heard that there's going to be some gun laws that are going to be adopted. Well, I shouldn't say adopted. They've already passed. They just haven't gone into effect yet. They go live on Valentine's Day. So February 14th of next year.
That is crazy.
Year, 2024. We're going to have a slew of gun laws that are already passed, and they just take effect. They didn't take immediate effect when they were passed initially because they didn't pass by the certain percentages of people in the government who was voting on it. They have to, pass it by so many votes for it to take immediate effect.
Wow.
And I was listening with rapt attention, man, to your last week episode, man. You made mention to it, and there were certain parts of it that were so relevant to basically what I'm talking about with you guys today, man. You all were talking about the Ethan Crumbley case, and
a lot of
things that came out of that Oxford shooting, and all the people who are still engaged, still following the tracks, and still following, the evidence, and trying to exactly figure out what was going on, who knew what, when. And all the failures that occurred with that case, man, it all ended up to a perfect storm of the actual shooting itself. Not only was it that case, but there was another case that happened in Lansing, Michigan. There was this, how old was this guy? His name was Anthony Dwayne McCrae. He was like 40 years of age. He was grief stricken. He had just lost his mother fairly recently. Was an individual that had a little scrape with the law. He got caught with a gun, CCW, and then of course he went on, to do that mass shooting up at Michigan State, man. And that happened, what was that? February 13th of 2023. So that was just earlier this year. So, these two incidents were, in my opinion, the justification that the legislature supposedly used as their justification to run and ram this new gun control, down our throats. I remember earlier in the year where there were, attempts to, well, I shouldn't say attempts. They did have at least a couple of public hearings.
Yeah.
I know myself and a bunch of other gun rights advocates went down to those hearings up in Lansing. And we definitely wanted to have at least an opportunity to speak at those hearings, man. But they wouldn't let us talk at all, man.
Wow.
We got to hear person after person after person deliver their testimony, and that's fine. I have no problem with listening to the other side. I probably won't agree with you, will vehemently disagree with you. But you know what? If you have something to say, go ahead and say it. But it got absurd to the point where they started having testimony from people who weren't at the shootings. They had heard about the shootings on the radio, and then they were in transit from the current location looking for their loved ones and their family members, but they still had an opportunity to go up to Lansing and walk up to the microphone and give their testimony, but it had absolutely nothing to do with anything, man. It was just another instance of a person getting to share their feelings about the story and how it made them feel.
Yep.
And because of how they feel, that's why we need, more gun laws.
And were they just pushing, pushing narratives? That seems like that's what happens a lot. Just pushing narratives. Outcast, do you have any questions out there? I know you're sitting back listening.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm frozen up. I think
it's okay.
It kind of puts a hitch in our giddy up. But Rick, after listening to last week's episode or the one from Saturday about Oxford, do you have any new insights about that situation? Anything that got your attention? Any red flags that you saw that correlated with other events like it? Anything that you want to throw out there for us to chew on?
I mean, it was, I was relatively familiar with that case. Of course, it has been a while since I had revisited a lot of the material facts. And I must say, it was an outstanding episode that in the hour or hour and a half long that the episode ran, man, it was very good in that it brought me up to speed. As a matter of fact, I feel updated on the circumstances of that story, man, because it seemed like it's still developing. It's still unfolding. There's a lot of information that's still yet to come out. But at the end of the day, people knew they failed to act. Something bad happened. And then everyone who could have done something, somehow by default, they're exonerated. They may not ultimately be held accountable. And this type of madness and foolishness can actually happen again. And see, they use this incident in addition to the shooting up at Michigan State to justify railroading all of this, these new gun laws, down our throats. Whether we're talking red flag law, storage law, or long gun registration. But see, it doesn't really matter if you think about it. When we had the results of the last election, the numbers came in. They, the anti-gun party, had the votes, and with minimum conversation, with minimum discussion, they rammed it down our throats, and it narrowly passed. But since it passed narrowly, that's why it didn't take immediate effect. That's why they had to wait these 90 days, and that's why, ironically, on Valentine's Day, February 14th, that's when the 90th day kicks in, and we have these new gun laws to contend with. And I'm not happy about it, man.
No,
I'm
none of
not
us
happy.
are. This is horrible. This is horrible, Rick. Hey, we have people asking where you're from, and I put your website on the screen. It's legallyarmedindetroit.com, you guys. Go check his website out. Rick was with us before, June 12th of 2022, episode 43. That was Black Guns Matter. That was a great show. But of course, we weren't on a video like this. And then
Hey, don't forget the other episode, man. I was on November 21st of 21.
Yep.
We talked about St. Kyle of House Written.
That's right. That was such a good. That was episode number 11. So you were on with us early, November 21st. Yeah, 2021, episode 11. St. Kyle of House Written, featuring Rick Ector, legally armed in Detroit. We talked about smallpox and a well-regulated militia, survival skills, and all this, Second Amendment. You know what I want to do right now, Rick, before we get any further? I want to read something, and I want your reaction to it, right? And it's real short. It's real simple. You heard it before, but I want the people to hear your response when I say this in terms of what's going on here in Michigan with our Soros-backed governor, AG, Secretary of State, whatever it is, all our local politicians around here. Now, I'm going to read this, and I want your response, all right?
Go for
all
it.
right, here we go, Rick. It says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Tell me what you think.
It means exactly what it says.
There you go.
Shall not be infringed.
Okay, and that's exactly what these legislators in our state are doing. They've infringed. Now, what do we do as people out here, we the people? What are options now? Because of course they've already voted themselves in there. We've lost our 2018 election in Michigan. Kind of put the nail in our coffin.
I wouldn't say the nail in our coffin, man, but in terms of gun rights and in terms of freedom, yeah, we took a hit, man, a huge hit. When you look at, and depending on who you talk to, man, when we talk about, storing your guns and locking your guns up, I mean, yeah, of course, who would have a problem with that? But you know what? Just the simple fact that they made it a gun law, I'm going to be against it. I think most responsible people know that they have a duty and an obligation to secure their firearms and to keep them away from children. But once you start making it a law, and then all you do is prescribe punishment, and you don't actually do something to help protect kids, and all you're doing is looking to punish people who are incompetent or irresponsible with their gun, then I think you haven't really done anything. You're just saying guns are bad and don't buy them, don't touch them, don't own them, and let's just hope the problem goes away. I would like something a little more prescriptive, man. But see, I'm being too progressive for those guys. I'm talking about actually indoctrinating children in places where there's no reason why we can't start talking to kids about guns and firearm safety in the schools. I mean, that's the perfect place for it. It wasn't too many years ago, man, where kids would actually take their rifles to school and go plinking and go hunting, on lunch break. But, that seems to be, a far time ago and definitely away from some of the circumstances we find ourselves in now. But let's be proactive, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about fire. Let's
Outcast, what do you have to add in here? Because he's talking about being proactive. I read out the Second Amendment. That's what that was. Everybody knows that, right? So what do you have to say, Outcast? Throw something in there.
Well, I don't want to be a little glim about it, but I mean the thing that bothers me is that you look at Whitmer and her posse, and we realize that they are probably selected, not elected. That's the first problem. Yep. They're funded by George Soros and these globalists who want nothing more than a one world government takeover. Yep. And the right to bear arms is the one thing that stands in their way. The American, I know everybody knows this, but I mean, all of our savvy listeners know this, and Rick knows this, but the American population represents the largest standing army in the world. And this is an existential threat to them and their agenda. and it's just frustrating to watch them try this stuff. I a lot of times I think this stuff. I'm not an expert, so Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think a lot of these things that they're going to try to do can really stick long term. It just shows their intent, what they're hoping to do. Then we've got to contend with.
I hope it doesn't stick long term, and you know what? We still have to win a decent number of elections to keep doing that, man. One thing I'll say about President Donald Trump, man, is that he put some conservatives on the Supreme Court, and we got some really huge pro-gun decisions out of the Supreme Court, man.
It's a good point. It's a great point.
I mean, if it wasn't for those new Supreme Court justices, man, we'd be in a very bad situation right now.
You know what? You just said Donald Trump. Do you mind standing up just a little bit and showing people what your shirt is? Come on, Rick. Look at that, you guys. Look at that shirt. Isn't that awesome? Oh, look at that. It's so funny. Awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
Now, Rick, do you get a lot of heat for that shirt? Do you wear that to work?
Well, I mean, yeah, I wear it to work every day. I work for me. I'm the boss.
I know, but I'm saying, do your customers ever get agitated by it, or do you get more of a warmer response than you might think?
You know what? I've had a lot of knuckleheads, a lot of snide remarks, a lot of social media, shenanigans, but some people, if they support a different candidate, they just can't leave it at that. They want to make it personal and make, attacks and call you everything but your name. But you know what?
Yep.
It's politics is now such a sport now, man.
It is.
And it's really funny. But, nowadays, you can't talk about those things in polite company, man. I mean, it's fighting words when we're in the thralls of a new campaign season, and people see their political foes as an existential threat, and everything it seems like is fair game. And I look at some of the things we've seen nationally in recent elections past. I mean, we're torturing our cities, and we're looting, and we're committing all sorts of crime. And then the police are just standing around watching this stuff, man. And then,
don't forget,
a record number of citizens bought guns watching all that violence. And guess what? There's now even more of us now that want to keep our guns. And now, here they are with these new gun laws. So, I mean,
yeah, that looks like
that's a great point.
Up, man.
Looks like
that's a great point.
We just lost Rumble.
And when you painted that picture about the looters and the cops standing there, don't forget that the media was right on hand to plaster it 24/7 to create fear. Like you said, it backfired on them, which I love that you pointed that out. It backfired, but look what the intent was. It's to show a small snippet. It's probably a very small situation, and then they plastered on TV 24/7 to try to gin up fear and make people feel like to use fear to make people hunker down and make emotional decisions instead of logical decisions. But like you said, it's brilliant. It backfired on them, and everybody went out and bought guns anyways. We're like, the gun sales are through the roof right now.
Well, I mean, if you think about it logically, the result made perfect sense. If you show all of this violence and mayhem in the city, and you see the police just standing pat, not doing anything, it doesn't take a genius to realize, okay, if I'm going to be safe, you know what? It depends on me. And if I can go buy a gun, guess what? I'm going to make a rational decision. As a matter of fact, man, there are so many people that I personally have networked with, either in person or online here in the Metro Detroit area, social media sites, but they're in the Metro Detroit area. And they used to give me the business about guns and how they hate guns. Man, I'll tell you, a fair number of them ended up in one of my training classes. Still hating guns, but they knew that they had to have one, or that they wanted one, and that they might as well learn how to safely operate.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild, man. What's going on here? I just can't. A lot of things leave me speechless. As far as when it comes to things like this, we're talking about, Rick. Because a lot of these things are more intentional than we know. A lot of people want to pass these laws and do silly things and show up for these protests and act like they're organic. They're not organic. Everything's planned and timed out, and they want to act like Woe is me. I'm the victim. We have to take these guns. We have to do all these things, but it's just, it's tiring. I get so sick of it because nothing seems nothing really seems real. You know what I mean? Everything seems so manufactured, and pre-planned, and it can leave you deflated. It can leave me deflated sometimes too. And it's like, well, what's the next step? What are we going to do? Are these laws ever going to be taken off the books once they go in next year? Are these laws ever going to come back off the books? Long gun registration
you have to figure we had like a rare event happen at the last statewide election, man. We had, one party actually control all three branches of government. Okay, the governor has always stated what she would do if she could.
Yeah.
We literally gave her the legislature, so hey, it's time to make it happen. I mean, you know what? If I was of her political bent, that is, if I was evil and believed in trotting on people's rights and wanted to subjugate them and make them pliable to my future requests and whims of fancy, yeah, I'd vote to do something to diminish their rights too. They're evil.
Yeah, totally. Outcast, you know what happened? I hate to bring this up right now, but with the Rumble thing going down, with your screen not being right, and I can't see the real you. I'm seeing a you of 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But we didn't pray over this episode.
I know, but this happened even before we normally pray.
I know, yeah.
I know. I was thinking that too. It's sketchy, but it seemed, yeah, it is sketchy. Did you want me to try to pray now, but in the middle of the podcast?
Well, maybe we should do it afterwards because I hate breaking up Rick's stuff here. Too. Rick's on a roll, and he's a good guy, and
he is on a roll, and I love what he has to say always. Though seriously,
I just wanted to acknowledge that I know the things were happening before we do the prayer anyway. So yeah, we're keep on going, Rick.
The thing that I have been experiencing, man, I've been experiencing a constant, steady stream of people just asking me question after question after question. Like, okay, so Rick, what's up with these gun laws? What do these gun laws mean? I mean, it got to the point where I was like, look, there's got to be an efficient way of doing this, and I was tempted to write like a very long essay and post it. But when I've done that in the past, it would just generate even more question after question after question. And then you're throwing something out into social media without context because they weren't there when these questions came in. I say, look, why don't I just do something I haven't done in a while? And I've gotten away from it for a while. Every so often I would do a speech on some aspect of guns or gun rights. And usually a gun rights organization will have me come out and do a speech on a particular topic, man. So look, I'm looking to get out into the community. I'm going to be at a gun range, and we're going to basically invite the folks to come out, man. And look, we're going to talk about these gun laws that changed. And whether we like them or not, I hate them and I detest them with a sincere passion, man. But I mean, for right now, we have registration. We have to register long guns now. And
so what does that look like? What does that mean? I mean, your grandpa's shotgun that we had.
Actually, you know what? To be honest, technically, I can tell you what the law says. But here's the thing: right now, in practical terms, our local government doesn't know what it means. What it means is that they need to get together on their end and try to figure out how they're going to administer this program. I was on the phone with a reporter from a local network that you guys have heard of. I wanted to get on one of the big weekly TV shows and at least discuss it and do a presentation about it. If not, get somebody to debate me on it, man. But right now, they acknowledge that the people that they're reaching out to in the government spaces, they're too busy concerned with trying to figure out how this thing is going to work. So right now, the powers that be in government that's going to be responsible for administrating it don't know exactly how it's going to work. They just know that it's a new law and they have to find a way to administer it and figure out how to make it make sense on their behalf. I've heard, in offhand conversations that even large sections of people in the law enforcement community are not happy about these laws because it puts them at risk depending on how they implement and adopt these laws, man.
Yeah.
You're talking about forcibly, in some set of circumstances, separating someone from their firearm, and depending on what led to that incident, there could be some hard feelings. There could be some upset folks. There could be some folks who are probably very agitated and they're in a bad state. And that's probably not the best way to engage people at gunpoint, kicking in their door at 3 o'clock in the morning. So there are some bad things that could happen if they adopt these rules, depending on how they do them. Any way that they adopt these rules, they're going to be an infringement against our rights. It's going to, be a huge problem. My big thing is, this whole concept of due process, man, because we all have a right to know what we are accused of. We all have a right to hear evidence that people have. We have a right to a jury. We have a right to a trial. We have a right to a defense. Our system is predicated on you convicting me in a court of law and then punishing me afterwards. You don't punish someone first and then challenge them to prove themselves innocent after the fact. I mean, it's the most un-American thing I've ever heard in the world.
Mm-hmm. And we're seeing a lot of that happen. We've seen it happen a bunch, and I don't know if there's putting any stop to that. Outcast, do you have anything to add right here?
No, Rick, I mean, do you see these types of laws sometimes being rescinded because they were never built on anything foundational to begin with? I mean, is that you've been doing this a lot longer than I've been tuned into it, so you would know better. But does this type of thing, have you learned from experience to not get too rattled about it, or is it something really serious we should be upset about?
I mean, anytime any aspect of your rights are trampled upon, I think it's a huge concern. I think it's a big problem to worry about. I mean, when I talk to some people in certain places, they want to, in a way, justify the infringement. Like, say, for example, we know that there's a certain percentage of the population that has access to guns, and they have a duty, a moral responsibility to keep their guns away from children. We know that. And not a sane, logical person wouldn't want that to happen, man. But when you put together a law, the law that you come up with, it does absolutely nothing to safeguard children. Children are not any safer or will be any safer after the law than the run up to changing the law. If anything, how about change the law or change society or change our resources such that we're actually doing something tangibly and credibly to protect children? Well, gee, Rick, what do you mean? How about educate the children? How about train the children? At the very least, go into the schools where the teachers and where the staff have them all day. God knows what ungodly things they teach them about relationships, gender, and sex. But let's damn sure not teach them about guns, right?
Exactly. Now, Rick.
Preach it, Rick.
Yeah, keep preaching that message. But here's the thing, though. Go back to the 50s and 60s when kids were taking guns, long guns, to school. They'd be in the truck rack right in the back there, because they're going to go hunting after school, or they had shooting club in the schools. Today, our schools are not like that anymore. They're so scared when you see, you say the word gun, or you go like this, and
you show a finger gun and like they want to send you to the principal's office.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was this case where a kid was eating his Pop-Tart, right?
Pop-Tart, right. He made Pop-Tart and shit with a pistol.
And he took his bites and it looked like a gun. So he pointed at his friend. He got suspended for that. because a Pop-Tart, after he took a few bites, looked like a gun, we have gone insane in this country. I had my daughters.
That's where we are, man. But there's a culture shift, and here's the thing: there's even a culture shift between people in the residential areas in the cities and people that stay in the outlying suburban areas or almost rural areas, man. In the state of Michigan here, the Wolverine state, we have a proud tradition, for example, to go hunting, like deer season, man. Like right now, the state is in crisis mode because we don't have enough hunters to actually go out and hunt the deer. If you don't keep the deer populations under check, I mean, what you're going to find is that they're going to run amok and find themselves in our suburbs and in our cities on the freeways and types of stuff. Or worse yet, they might die a horrific death of starvation.
Bringing that up, I thought that I was supposed to take you hunting last year. Remember, we talked about that, Rick.
You didn't call me, man.
Dang it.
hey, since Rick brought up
Rick
brought up the hunting thing, I want to add this in there. Just this weekend, I saw an incredible video of this giant moose on a cart, a dead moose, and it was being wheeled through the halls of a school, and it was I think it might have been in Anchorage, Alaska. And I was like, what am I looking at? Well, it turns out that the teacher was doing a whole class on processing meat for his students. And I sent it out to all my text threads, and I said, this is what it would look like if schools actually taught you stuff that you could use, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that Rick was just talking about, the hunting thing, you're right. I mean, what they've done is they've created an irrational response to anything gun related. It's not organic. This isn't happening normally. This is being promoted by like higher ups in education. Let's act like this regarding guns at all. Okay, because if you think about it, I know this is redundant for us, but I just got to say it. It is a tool. And if you don't want your kid to run a drill through his hand, then you teach them how to use the drill in woodshop. If you have a nail gun, it could kill you. And so that's why when you take a class in how to build, a woodshop, whatever, they teach you how to use a nail gun.
I had woodshop all kinds of things. In middle school. They would give us wood, and we would cut them on saws. We had lathes. We had drills. I mean, we would make checkerboard sets and Chinese checkerboard sets. We would make sculpture. I mean, we did all sorts of stuff with wood, man. And you know what? Yeah. Without proper supervision, that stuff is potentially hazardous. But that's why you have role models and teachers there to teach you how to use that stuff.
There you go.
Why you don't do that stuff nowadays is beyond me.
Exactly. Well, so it's pick and choose. They're going to go, okay, well, these things we're okay with, but we're going to pretend that a gun is the scariest thing in the world that walks around and shoots people inadvertently without even having somebody's hand on it. That's what we're going to act like. We're going to just act like it's this autonomous killing machine, right? We're just terrified of a vision of a gun, a Pop-Tart shaped like a gun. Nobody acts like that. They're doing this on purpose so they can push their agenda. But anyways, back to school.
Do you realize that a 12-year-old can get a state of Michigan hunting license? Are you aware of that?
I was one of them. That was me. When I was 12, I got mine. I had to take my hunter safety. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. Hey, I've got a question or a comment right here from Fire Dog. He is a how do we explain him? Outcast Fire Dog. He's been on the show a couple times. Yeah, he is
the coolest dude. He's got medical experience, so he knows how. He's like a paramedic, medical experience. He knows.
Yeah, he works for local fire. He knows
here. Gun and self-defense safety. He's a man of humility, a man of God, and we love him. He's a really cool dude.
He just added this. He says I know for a fact elementary kids are getting questioned by officials for drawing stick figures with the gun at home, not even in school. Because these questions are coming up at schools to the young kids.
Well, see, that just like everything else, we need to have a sit down conversation with our kids,
Yeah.
And essentially, it's conversations that my parents had with me. What happens in this house? Hey, you don't go talking about what happens in this house, and you don't tell your teachers about anything that goes on here. If they have a question about what happens in the house, you come speak to me.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Can you imagine turning your kids into spies to rat you out?
That's what the state is doing. The state wants that.
The state is turning your children into informants to rat you out and to actually be bear witness so that you can be prosecuted for something that they don't like.
Yeah, and you know what? They also did the same thing with our doctors, our pediatricians, and doctors. Those questions that come up, you have to fill out, which I always tell people: don't fill that crap out. If they want to know, they can ask you, but don't fill any of that crap out. Yeah,
like
Monster Mike's. Yeah,
is there guns in the house, like your doctors or your doctor? It's none of your business.
Yep, that's one of the questions
maybe
on there.
They're asking because they've been ordered to ask, but you don't have to answer that filth.
Yep, exactly. And I don't fill that stuff out.
Another doctor.
Monster Mike, he says they're too busy promoting pronouns in school. Yes, it's crazy. 1984, turn your kids into spies. That's Ham Hock. Yes, thank you, Ham Hock. Now, Trusty Turnip over here on Pill Foxhole says she used to take her gun control. I took my gun control class after hours at my high school. Gun control class? What do you mean?
I was trying to figure out if she's being, humorous. Like gun safety class?
Yeah, be a gun safety. Yeah, gun safety.
She probably means gun safety, don't you think?
That's what she means. Yes, I would think so too.
You know, and just like that, in the summer, not during school, but in the summertime, I took driver's ed so I wouldn't kill somebody with a car.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But see, here's another thing too. Nowadays, I don't even know if there's wood shop in schools. It seems like
there really needs to be, man, because there's a dearth of people out here without any manual skills, man. I mean, you should at least know how to do basic stuff like put up plaster, how to change fuses, light bulbs.
See, these are all these are all practical things, Rick, that we all learned and we all know. But they don't teach that stuff anymore. We need to teach somebody
how to put in an overhead light, on in your ceiling,
Yeah, a lot of people they're not learning this stuff anymore. Hey, look, they stopped teaching our kids how to write in cursive. You know what else is written?
Yeah.
You know what else is written in cursive?
Constitution.
What else? Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights.
The Bible. Sometimes there's Bible verses written that way. There's a lot of things that we need to bring back because they know what they're doing. They know why they want to separate these things from our kids, from the young, right? Especially our parents. They want to separate the parents and the young because once you do that, the state gets a hold of these kids. They twist their minds into garbage. And, eventually you have a kid coming home who thinks completely opposite of the values that were taught to the kid in the family at home. We see it, Rick. It's crazy. And then we have days like this where kids are shooting other kids. Government's doing false flags to make it look like people are shooting people. They're using so many operations. It's like a full on 360-degree threat or a campaign of chaos going on right now. And we're just trying to live in this chaos that they're pushing on us. And, go ahead, Outcast.
I just got to add this in. It's just a passing thought, but I think it has value. I can say from experience, before I owned a gun, I respected them. I believed in the Second Amendment, but I was a little bit afraid of it. Okay. And when I went to purchase it, I was like, okay, show me how.
You were afraid of the gun or afraid of the Second Amendment? What you talking
about?
No,
afraid of the gun. I'm sorry. Afraid of the gun. I was like, okay, show, I keep hearing about this, there's, bullet in the chamber. And the guy's like, listen, you're overthinking this. Just relax. Okay. My greater point is this: when somebody cares about you, they teach you what the item is about, so you have nothing to fear, right? They're not going to let you wallow in your fear. Anybody that doesn't own a gun is terrified of them. Once you get, Rick, I know you're going to agree with me. You get somebody that's new to shooting into your range, right? What do? They love it. So the more I use my gun, the more I go to the range, the more comfortable I am, and the less terrified I am, and I feel empowered. I feel emboldened to know about my guns that I own. Right,
man. Look, I train at my annual free shooting event for women. I train people by the thousands, man.
Yes. Now,
and you get huge numbers of people, many of which have never seen a gun, held a gun, let alone loaded one and actually shot with it. And the thing is, they represent the ideal, perfect gun owner. They have an open mind, they're curious, and they want to know more. That's how we fight against gun laws, man. You take people whose minds haven't been poisoned or tainted by the anti-gunners, and you take them to the gun range and teach them how to shoot. That way, when they spew all of this anti-gun leftist propaganda, they're like, no, I went to the gun range. I shot. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I'm considering getting a permit if necessary in my community. And I'm none of those things that you say that I am.
Right. Hey, what is your next event? Because I got a couple guys in my church who want to get their wives in on that.
Well, the next event that I'm doing proper is this new legislation seminar, which is on Saturday over at Recoil Firearms in Taylor on Saturday. Doing it at 12 noon and at 4 o'clock. It's a 2-hour seminar. Once I get that done, that's like my highest priority, to educate the public on these new gun laws. Hopefully, you know what, I might even be able to like get someone to record it. I haven't been able to find anybody to do that for me yet, but hopefully.
Where's this event at? Is it on your website?
It's on my blog, Legally Armed in Detroit. It's on my Facebook. It's on my Instagram. It's on my Twitter. I haven't posted a YouTube video yet. If you look for me anywhere, you should be able to find me. My name's right up on the screen, Rick Ector. I swear to God, I'm all over the place. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Blogger. Go to Blogger, Facebook. You can't miss it. But you know what? Go to legallyarmedindetroit.com.
Well, that's right here, you see that? I'm on your, it's on the screen right now, Rick. I'm on your Instagram right there, you guys. Go check him out. Right there. Yep. Now I can see there's our stuff right there. Now, where is the, there's a red flag gun law.
There's a red flag. What does the red flag do?
Yeah. Let's click on that. This one right here in the middle.
Yeah. What does that do?
It says Rick Ector makes another appearance. Hold on one second here. We're trying to get Outcast back up, and hopefully he can be live with us. There you go, Outcast. Director Rick Ector makes another appearance on. So that's that you were on Bill Frady's show. That's what you're talking about, right?
Oh, well, you know what? I made an announcement on his show, but one of those icons should be a link for the class. I'm going to throw another icon up as soon as I get out of this class.
Right here. That's it right there. Okay. Yeah, that's it right there. So, yep. I'll read this one to you guys. It says, well, I'm going to have to make it a lot bigger because it's hard to see. Seminar, urgent laws that Michigan firearm owners must know by Valentine's Day, Saturday, December 16th. It's a 2-hour course, red flag, gun storage law, and long gun registration. It's $25. You can RSVP there and go to his Instagram page. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm seeing it at. So
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or go to my blog at legallyarmedindetroit.com.
Now, here is your website. I'm on that right now. You guys see that? Legally Armed in Detroit. And what do you want to also tell them about your, you kind of mentioned it there in the middle, but you have the record of teaching women, right? What is it, 1,000 in the day, or what was that? What was your record there? What was that all about?
My all-time record was I trained 1,900, almost 2,000 women how to shoot in one weekend. Cumulatively, I'm up to 9,000. After this year's iteration of this free women's shooting event, in which I introduced women to shooting, I will have hit 12,000 for the program. It's absolutely unreal how many women I've been able to introduce to guns. And that's been a testament to my friends, fellow trainers, firearms instructors, gun ranges, sponsors. Man, it's just been all hands on deck. I mean, institutions such as Gun Owners of America, National Rifle Association, locally, we have Michigan Coalition of Responsible Gun Owners, Michigan Gun Owners. I mean, it's been all hands on deck. And, you know, I am extremely fortunate in that I have a lot of friends here in the gun community, a lot of gun organizations I've been aligned with for a very long time, man. You see all this gray. I earned it, but I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of tight relationships with a lot of gun groups here in the state, man. And it's all hands on deck, and they actually help me do it.
You know what would be kind of great is if you could make inroads. I know you work out of one gun shop in particular down there in Taylor, correct? Is that where you normally go? Is that was that Top Gun?
There's a few gun ranges I go to. I know I've used Top Gun before, and I'll use Recoil Firearms, and
Yep.
there's a few other ranges I go to.
It would be, it'd be a little bit of a drive, but if you could make inroads with accurate firearms in Clarkston out there, man, I think you would really enjoy that and could probably get something set up there because, if I had to take some equipment out there to do something live, it's close enough right there. So, that
What's
would be
how many lanes they got? How many lanes they have?
Was it 9 Outcasts, something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they have 9 lanes. They added on. They have one range that is you can do long guns. They have another one where you can do the simulator and a bunch of other ones. So I think there's 9. It might even be 11. I can't remember last time I was there.
Look, you know what? I got some time coming up. I'm gonna, based on your recommendation, shoot out there and see what's going on. Who knows?
Well, actually, if you want,
Jesse James sent me, and
well,
knows,
actually. Our buddy Fire Doug, he's got the inroads there, so he can actually put in a word and make that thing happen. So if you ever want to do that, that'd be something good. We could put something together. We could all shoot there.
While I'm here, while I'm here.
All right, so you guys check that out. LegallyArmedInDetroit.com is the website, and go to his social media though. Go, it's. There you go. There's your NRA hat.
Here's
right
an NRA hat, right?
Yep.
I'm a NRA Board of Directors member. And you know what I thought would be cool? Since I'm doing this event, I'm on the board. I need to start advocating for people to join the organization, man. So at the seminar, I'll have a little thing set up, and I'll be asking people to join the National Rifle Association and get a very cool NRA cap for doing so.
Hamhock says you're doing God's work, Rick Ector. Thank you.
Tell him I said thanks.
That's awesome. Well, Hamhock, he's here all the time. So, man, all right. I want some final words from you as far as where we are with, as we're coming up to, Valentine's Day next year, and where we're going to be with this whole thing, with this legislation. Now, it passed, like you said, it already passed.
It's passed. We just wait. We're waiting for it to actually go into effect.
Yeah. So
I was speaking with some people here in the local media because I have this seminar coming up on the 16th at 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And I say, well, hey, let's get some media coverage. Let's let folks know about it. And, they didn't want to just give me, just one side of the story. Government literally is scrambling right now. This is what the media is telling me. The government is scrambling because they have no idea right now, as of this moment, what it's going to look like in terms of the process to actually implement this heinous, ungodly, evil legislation that they passed during the last session. So,
but Outcast, you got anything for him to respond on that?
I have this, as a conspiracy realist, Rick, I have this feeling in my gut, and I just want to ask you if this makes any sense at all. But what are the chances that they're trying to intentionally make this muddied and confusing so that a lot of people will feel kind of frozen and unsure about it, or put it on the back burner because they're not clear about it, and then they're going to use it as a vehicle to kind of bust in on people, that they, target people and just try to confiscate guns willy-nilly because they didn't go through the proper process that they didn't make clear from the beginning. Is that a little paranoid of me to think? Or, what's your thoughts on that?
I put nothing past them, if you were to ask them, something blatant like that, of course they would vehemently deny it. But, a lot of times things that people once thought were conspiracy theories, just wait a while. Some of it actually pans out, man. I don't put anything past these people, man. In my view, anyone that seeks to disarm you seeks to control you, man. And they could not possibly have your best interest at mind. And the things that they use as justifications to disarm you, they literally hold absolutely no weight, man. No weight at all.
Well said. I agree. And what really gets me the most worked up here, Rick, is this. You're saying that our government here, these in Michigan, of course, they're all leftists now. They're in control. You can throw a rock and you're not going to hit a Republican to oppose them at all right now. It's that crazy. You're saying that they don't have a clue as what to do. They've got these laws that are done now. They got them in their hand. My guess is they're going to go to the federal government, their buddies over there in the White House, and they're going to find out what they can do. Now that they have these laws in their hand, hey, they're going to find out, how do we do this? They're going to get federal help is what they're going to do.
I mean, they're operationally, in my mind, there's no good way to do evil. So anything they come up with, I'm going to have a problem with. Let me just get that out the way. But for the sake of discussion, they need to figure out how they're going to actually, when it comes down to getting one of these orders, how are they going to get your gun? Are they going to kick your door in at 3 o'clock in the morning with a group of 5 or 6 officers with guns? And if you move wrong, are they going to shoot you and kill you? I mean, that's obviously the worst case scenario, right?
Yep.
And that's, people are like, "Oh, Rick, you're preaching there's going to be bloodbaths." I'm not predicting this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you just on what I can imagine if some of these situations go sideways. And I've actually talked to people. The police are not willing. Now, I'm not going to say not willing. They're not looking forward to doing some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that they're really trying to figure out how they're going to do this stuff. And it's just bad news all the way around. It should have never been adopted. But I mean, hey, whoever controls the government makes the rules. So until we suffer until the next election and change things, this is what we're going to have to deal with.
I want to try to do something here. Let's see if I can do this, if I can make this thing work. You guys go ahead and keep talking. It's going to take me just a second here, but I think I can do this, Rick, because I want you to. Okay.
I'm curious now. What exactly are you doing, man?
Right.
I mean, we're on pins and needles just waiting. He's like, "No, Rick,
I know.
You keep talking, man. You were on a roll. Just pretend like some other option came up, man." Well, look.
Dang it. Okay.
Again.
Well, this is what's going to happen. So I'm going to play this, and it's, who this guy is, Maj Toure, right?
Yeah, I know Maj.
Okay. I'm going to play something from him. He's got so many. I mean, I'm just going to play it and see what you guys think. It's going to come on. It's going to be loud. But I grabbed this one clip because I just want to hear your reaction to it.
Pro-black motherfuckers, supposedly, are so Trump derangement syndrome and contradictory that you would vote for the guy that's been in office for 47, 48 years, has done nothing but co-author the bill that locked up more black men, you contradictory motherfuckers, talking about criminal justice reform. All summer, in qualified immunity, in the system. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the fucking system. You fucking contradiction. And you ignored the fact that Joe Biden gave the goddamn eulogy at Byrd, the known actual white supremacist, the Klan member, gave the eulogy at his goddamn funeral while locking up hundreds of thousands of black men. You'll ignore all of that.
So we're back to that. I didn't.
Pro-black motherfuckers.
Oh boy, hold on.
Supposedly
stop.
Are so Trump derangement syndrome and contradictory that you would vote for.
Okay, there we go. We're back.
Everything that Maj said in that clip is 100% accurate and it's true.
And
really
what's so good about Maj Toure that I do like, that he's always talked about when I first saw it, the Black Guns Matter thing, because that is such a strong message and has got a lot of people triggered, right? Outcast, I don't know if you've seen the whole thing. I mean, it was laced full of, expletives and everything that we don't normally would do, but you get the point. You get the point. Maj is fed up. Yeah, you got to take it in context. Maj is fed up just like we are with a lot of what's going on. He always talks about his main thing is all gun control is racist.
It is.
Can you break that down? Because I see it. I believe it too.
Well, we're all Michiganders, right?
Yeah, Michiganiacs.
Okay. Michigan, well, or Michiganians, depending on how you do it, right?
Yeah.
So there was a time in this state, in the state of Michigan, in which things were a little different from where they are now, man.
Mm-hmm.
There was this doctor in the city of Detroit who in 1925 graduated from college, came home to Detroit, and he opened up a small practice. And he found himself working primarily in the Black community. It was an underserved community, and they needed his services. As a consequence, he found himself doing rather well, and he became rather prosperous. So Dr. Ossian Sweet decided that he should buy a home that was more befitting his financial status and his position in the community. So he searched around in the Detroit area until he found a house over on Virgil Street. And during that era, there used to be things in the law called deed restrictions. That is things that are pretty much illegal now because of the federal housing laws and stuff that we have now.
Redlining, right?
Is that red? Well, redlining and basically deed restrictions. You put it in the actual document on the home or on the property that, for example, as in this case, you can't sell this house to a Black person. You know, and it seems outrageous now, but it was quite common and widely done, you know, to protect the so-called sanctity and the property values in certain communities, especially in the city of Detroit. We're talking about 1925, right? So,
yeah, I remember hearing these things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure none of you guys was here because I know I wasn't here in 25, right? But
nope.
But anyway, so Dr. Sweet decided that no matter what these folks told him, he was going to move into his home. So when he moved into his home, he took a few precautions, and his precautions were to adopt 3 other families to go with him to be guards and to keep him company, and they all brought guns. Everyone brought guns to his basically housewarming party. And that very first night, people in the community received word that a Black man had bought a home in this community and that they had moved in and set up shop. Before you know it, there was a racist mob that congregated outside of their homes. I mean, they had the whole shebang. You know, get out this and leave. You know, there's going to be trouble. According to published news reports I've come up to, I've seen news accounts that said there were anywhere from 200 to 500 people outside of his home chanting for him to get out and for him to leave.
Jeez.
One night, someone fired into his home and Dr. Sweet fired back. 2 people were shot, 1 person died. Everyone that was attacking the home, that's where, you know, the people that got injured and or died. The police who were in the area overseeing this protest, they decided to storm the home only and arrest all of the occupants of the home.
Yep.
Everyone was cross-examined. We didn't have such legal protections as the 5th Amendment. You didn't have a right to remain silent in those days. They were interrogated, and the prosecution put forth a case, and they prosecuted Dr. Sweet first just to see how this prosecution was going to go. The NAACP, which was pro-gun back then, and I guess you were like, for real, like, yeah, well, you know, Black people had a different opinion in mass about guns when they were needed for survival against, you know, bad people such as the Klan and racists. So the NAACP hired Clarence Darrow, who was like a noted criminal defense attorney, very famous. I think one of his most famous cases was the Scopes trial. So anyway, this case was presided over by Mr. Judge Frank Murphy, whose name is on numerous buildings in the city of Detroit.
The Frank Murphy building, yeah.
Former mayor of Detroit.
Yep.
Former, I believe he was governor or senator for Michigan. Very historic figure. At the end of the day, once that trial concluded, an all-white jury acquitted Dr. Sweet of any wrongdoing.
Nice.
In response to Dr. Sweet's acquittal, In 1927, the Michigan legislature adopted and passed the Michigan Firearms Act. And it had on the books every gun law that you can think of now was on the books then. You're talking about handgun registration, which we still have, and we just have extended it to rifles and shotguns. So yeah, the gun grabbers, the racist gun law actually got extended.
Yep.
We used to have discretionary concealed pistol license. If you want a concealed pistol license, you had to actually be like famous, connected, well-known politician, movie star. It wasn't until the law was changed back in 2001 when we went to a non-discretionary policy in which there was uniform standards adopted all across the state. So actually, Michigan has gone backwards on gun laws, adopting laws that were perpetuated and enacted by racists going back almost 100 years. So
yep. That just Outcast. That makes me sick, man. We're
it's
going back.
heartbreaking.
We're going backwards in our in our state.
We're going backwards.
And yes, Monster Mike. Yes, he's talking about registering gun laws. It's passed, Mike. You understand? It passed. They want us to register our long guns here in Michigan starting Valentine's Day. Don't do it though. Don't do it because you don't own any. As long as you don't own any, don't register them. Okay. This is so frustrating. This is digging deep, Rick. This is getting down into look. Think about it. If your grandpa, right? Your grandpa used to take you out hunting with the old 410 or the old 20 gauge, whatever it was, and you guys go out and sometimes he used to hang it up on the, it already happened, Mike. It already passed. The law passed. But
these laws have already passed. We're waiting till the 90 days end and they actually become law on the books ready to be enforced. Valentine's Day.
So your grandpa gives you a gun, the old wooden gun that's been hanging up over the fireplace all these decades, right? Here you go, son. You're going to have it now. It's yours now to give to your grandson, it's from years from now. They want that thing registered now. Isn't that crazy? These are the things that we
registration has absolutely no bearing on criminal behavior. Absolutely none. None whatsoever.
Registration is because they want to know who has guns and what they have. That's all it is. That's because they want to know where to go. They want to know where to send their police to.
Worst case scenario, once the government finally goes full tyrannical, all they have to do is print out the government forms, and they have a shopping list to go door to door and to confiscate all the firearms.
Exactly.
It gives you absolutely no benefit. And some people are like, well, gee, will it help in crime fighting? No, registering guns does not help in crime fighting. Criminals do not register their guns. If someone found a gun in a crime and they're like, okay, let's go see who this gun is registered to. They go to the gun owner and the gun owner is like, yeah, that gun was stolen from me. Here's the police report where I filed that they stole my gun. So how is having that registration in a computer file for this stolen gun going to solve any crimes? It doesn't.
It doesn't. No, it's a list of who to target first. Yeah, music
it's
lover
a list
said
of whose door to kick in so that they can take their guns.
But
here's the part that gets me. That concerns. Here's the part that concerns me. Rick, you remember that story from Hurricane Katrina down in New Orleans, and they sent in those Israeli SWAT team dudes to go door to door and confiscate.
Yeah, I don't know who they were, but they literally went door to door to confiscate guns when people needed them the most.
Shotguns,
right?
Yeah, everything.
So my greater point is they used a disaster, a natural disaster, or a catastrophe to try to get away with this behavior. So we know that they use the same game plan over and over again. So what is it going to be next time? The next pandemic, the next whatever they plan, they're going to try to use that disaster to make a bold move like this. That's what I foresee. That's the goal anyways. I'm not saying they're going to pull it off, but it's that we know that they're good for trying, right? Do you think that that's a valid thing to comment here, Rick?
Look, man, the bottom line is that they do not want you to have a gun. They don't want you to have a right to a gun. They don't want you to be able to carry a gun.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they don't, you know what? They don't even want you to use the doggone gun to protect yourself, which is why they're like, no. Don't worry about protecting yourself, despite the Supreme Court decisions that we have on the books. We have a Supreme Court decision that says that no citizen has any expectation for the government to protect them.
Yep.
Your
Exactly.
protection and your safety. This is the U.S. Supreme Court decision. You have no right to expect the government to protect you and to make you safe.
Yep.
Well, gee, you mean to tell me that I'm just vulnerable? I'm out here and anyone can do whatever they want to me? No, I didn't say that. There is someone who's responsible for your safety, responsible for your family's safety. Yes, as a matter of fact, it's the best person for the job. I'll give you one guess whose job it is.
You.
Yours.
It's you.
Ours. We the
It's
people.
you.
Yourself.
Yes, we
It's
the
you.
people.
It's your
That's-
right to protect yourself.
Yep.
And I can't think of a better way to protect yourself than with a firearm. I carry one every day. No days off, man. Every day.
We all carry them. We all carry them, Rick. Look at that.
My workplace is a gun-friendly environment.
There we go. Look at that, brother. Yep. I hear you. And the thing is, like, I encourage everybody to get their CPL taken care of, right? Get your CPL, get your carry license. My wife, my mom, my oldest daughter soon will have it. Outcast. A lot of our friends, wives, husbands, they all have CPLs. I used to put on these CPL classes, right? I'd organize an instructor and I'd get all the people together and I'd just be in there facilitating these things because I want more people to be out there concealed carrying. I'll take it a step further. We should not even have to have a concealed weapons. We already have the Second Amendment. We should just carry. Okay, constitutional carry. That's where I'm at. There's over 26 states now that are constitutional carry, and that's where we should be here in Michigan. Yeah.
Well, you know what? And there's a lot of weeds to be dug through, but open carry is legal here in Michigan. But there are some situations where in other states that means something different. Like if once you get into the car, once you get into a vehicle with a firearm, it's not open carry, it's concealed carry. Permit. Other states have different laws, and there's a different perspective legally. But yeah, man, we should straight up, man, not even require a concealed pistol license. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Rick, but you're a firearms instructor that teaches concealed carry classes. Hey, man, I'm a purist.
Yep.
I'm a purist.
Me too.
You shouldn't need a gun. You shouldn't need a license to carry a gun. But here's the thing. If by chance you've been sheltered your entire life and you're just coming into this whole gun ownership proposition and you made a rational decision that you probably should take a class or something, then I'm sure that there's a firearms instructor somewhere who's willing to accommodate you.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Actually, I think it'd be a boon for training.
Hey, Rick, before we went on air, you told us a great story about how you got yourself elected to the NRA Board of Directors, and it was a humble story. Listen, no, but seriously, it starts out with humility, and then it turns out with a really cool ending. And I like that I think there's a lesson for people to be learned about what you went through. So if you could tell our audience that story, and then also tell us what your role is, what it means to be on the board of directors. What is that? Is that a thing do you represent Michigan for us, or how does that role play out for you? So I want to hear both.
Well, let me answer that last question first while I'm thinking about it.
All right.
There are exactly 76 members on the board of directors. 75 members are elected to a 3-year term. So every 3 years, 1/3 of the directors is up for election, right? So every year, 25 new come on, the old 25 come off. But every year at the annual meeting, there is a 76th director that's elected for a 1-year term. Voting only happens for that 76th director at the annual meeting every year. And so once they finish the voting for that day, they then announce who the 76th director is. So now going back, probably when I was last on the show, I probably shared with you all and with your listening audience that I was running for the board of directors. You know, I have been involved with the NRA's outreach committee. And essentially what outreach does is that as a committee, the NRA is putting on events in different areas in the country in which they're showcasing some of the things that a lot of member individual and member groups are doing in their particular area of the country. And I had received some, what do you call it, attention from the NRA because they started seeing some of the things that I was doing here in Detroit. Most ostensibly, I was starting to get some national attention on some of the things that I do with the free shooting event for women, right?
Yep.
So we train a bunch of women for free. Like I think 2020 was a high water mark. We trained 1,970, 23 women, I believe it was, in one weekend, Saturday, Sunday, in just one weekend. Trained almost 2,000 women. So, you know, and that started to get me some attention. And people said, well, hey, you should be on outreach committee. And so I've been on the outreach committee, and that gave me an opportunity to talk about what we're doing here in Detroit. And I got to meet a lot of the board members and a lot of people in the gun rights community. And last year, I was nominated to be on the board of directors. So essentially, your name is on the ballot, and you go out and you campaign, and you let people know of your candidacy, and you tell them, hey, vote for me, right? And the ballots came in the February issue of NRA magazine. So if you're an NRA eligible member, you'll get a ballot in your magazine. And so, you know, you campaign and you tell people, you know, hey, vote for me, vote for me. And then at the end of the campaign period, they count the votes. Well, before the annual meeting, they'll have an announcement in terms of what the results were of the election. So for the election that was done this year, I did not get elected, right? And so, yeah, I was disappointed, you know, for sure, because I had been wanting to be on the board for, you know, a few years. You know, I wanted to take part in the organization on a more involved, higher level, you know, and I think it's a true honor to represent the membership and to have a say in how the organization is governed and what happens with the organization. So I went to the annual meeting this year, and I actually campaigned to be that 76th director I told you all about.
Live and in person.
I walked up to a lot of complete strangers and said, hey, my name is Rick Ector. I'm from Detroit. Firearms instructor, training counselor. I would consider it an honor if you would vote for me. And they're like, for real? I'm like, yeah. They said, I can vote for you. I said, are you an NRA member? They said, yeah. I said, go right in there and vote for me, Rick Ector. And enough people voted for me at the annual meeting such that I got elected to the board.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead, Outcast.
Yeah, it's perseverance. You didn't take the defeat. You just said, I'm not done. It's not over till it's over.
Everyone that I asked to vote for me didn't say yes. Some people weren't going to vote, and some people were like, no, thank you, or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when another person says no, another person will say yes. So
yeah,
here's one for you. In sales, we say must be present to win.
Yes. That's awesome. Hey,
let me tell you, I put in some long days, man, during the convention, man. And people,
I'm sure you did.
People would say, man, you still out here? Like, hey, still out here. Another vote, another vote, another vote.
Well, we're behind you, Rick. We're behind you.
We're behind you. We're very proud of you. We're behind you.
Hopefully, I will not need to run for the 76 this year. hopefully I'll, sufficiently have changed a few things. Sufficiently, I will have found a better way of getting my name out there, and such that people who are familiar with me will not only vote for me, but advocate for their friends and followers to vote for me. And hopefully, I will be one of the 25 that will be enacted this year. And if by chance, for some reason, I don't become one of the 25 that go in the mail-in election, you know what? I'll do what I have to do like I did this year and get elected as this year's 76.
Amen. That's
Love
how you
it.
do it. You know,
You're a
there's
fighter.
something, yeah, you big time. And don't stop doing what you're doing. I want to read this. This is what I had written down here for episode 43 when you were with us. Just a few sentences right here. It says, Rick Ector is a highly credentialed and well-respected firearms instructor and gun rights activist based in Detroit, Michigan. His company, Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit, specializes in providing state of Michigan compliant concealed pistol license training classes to law-abiding citizens throughout the state of Michigan. Further, he frequently speaks on the subjects of personal protection and crime prevention to the neighborhood homeowners associations, civics groups, and churches, and often gives free gun safety and shooting lessons to interested women. So, I mean, that's huge, Rick. I mean, you're out there doing all kinds of stuff, busy doing good things. And I just want to congratulate you.
I'm going to actually tell you what was my motivation in doing that free women shooting bit.
Yeah.
There was a night I was watching the local news, man, and I saw a news story about a woman's partially nude, naked body laying on the street, man. And you're like, well, gee, what in the world would happen to create that set of circumstances? She was attacked, assaulted, raped, killed, and her body was just discarded on the street as if it was trash. And I really thought to myself, man, that is a particularly heinous way to die.
Yeah.
And I could not get it out of my head. And I was thinking to myself, somebody should do something about that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a couple of friends, and they were like, well, you're somebody. I said, well, what does that mean? They say, hey, why don't you do something about it? And I said, okay, challenge accepted. So I contacted some fellow firearms trainers, like 5 or 6 of us, and let's say, hey, let's go up to a gun range and let's see how many women we could get off of Facebook and social media to meet us at a gun range and train them for free. And that's what we did. First year, I trained 50 women. And I was talking to a good friend of mine. You may have heard of him, Ken Blanchard, blackmanwithagun.com. And Ken said, awesome job, Rick. He said, you had 2 words for me. Keep going. And so it was from that 50 that I ended up getting to 2,000. And cumulatively, for the 12 years that I've done this program, man, I have trained 9,000 women for free during this training program. Wow. I'll hit 10,000 after this next iteration over the summer.
It's amazing.
That is so awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. And occasionally I'll see pictures of the classes that you put on and how people are so excited that they have their, they went through the training and you show those pictures, and that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're doing it, and don't stop. Man. Yeah, keep doing it.
Let me tell you, to a person, whether man or woman, firearms trainer that actually volunteers from all 4 corners of the country. I have people who actually grace us with their time, efforts, and energy to actually travel in on their own dime to help me put on this program, man. And I appreciate each and every one of them.
Yeah.
They will each tell you that they are so psyched up and so pumped and energized and just filled with the knowledge that they did a truly good thing to a stranger for no reason whatsoever. And it's just a pure joy that actually permeates through their soul that they did that.
Yeah,
awesome.
You're empowering people. It's very liberating. It's I think it's amazing. And I mean, women in general, I don't think, and I shouldn't say this, it's a generalization to say this, I guess, but a lot of women I don't think feel encouraged to try to learn to use guns.
Well,
Once you get them past,
some might be curious, but may not have a comfortable place to go or to turn to.
yep.
Like, okay, like say there's a woman out there that wants to learn how to shoot or wants to buy a gun or wants to take some training. I mean, okay, where do you go? Who do you call? Some are forward enough and, go to it and make it happen. And then some, I'll just wait until, something presents itself. Okay, this is me presenting the opportunity to you, coming to a news story in the media near you. If you ever see on the news, there's going to be this huge event in Metro Detroit, probably in Taylor, where this crazy guy is talking about giving 2,000 women a free shooting lesson. Register and go.
Yeah, that's what I agree, man. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. We enjoy it. We like seeing this, and hey, an armed society is a peaceful society,
a polite society, yes,
polite and peaceful. So
look,
yeah,
man, to the both of you, Mr. Outcast and Mr. Jesse James, I want to thank you both for extending me an opportunity to be on the show, man. This is my third time, man. I should get a hat. 3 times it's a hat trick, right? Y'all should give me a hat of some sort, man.
Well,
do y'all have dangerous info podcast hats, man?
We're actually working on that. We have, there's a couple over here laying down. We have a bunch of prototypes, but we are working on those with our good friend Manny. So we have some stuff. We have some hats and shirts coming. We're in the works, and hoodies.
I don't want, not the shirt. Look, here's the thing.
You want the hat,
3
right?
times a guest, I get a hat.
All right.
All right, we'll get him one. It's going to
happen. It's going to happen. Yeah, we'll get you one. So,
Rick, I got to tell you, buddy, you have a contagious energy. I love you and respect you. I think the world of you. I hope we can meet in person someday. I want to either come to your range and shoot or something. I gotta. Man,
look. Let me ask you a simple question. What are you doing Saturday at 12 noon?
Ooh. I'm not sure.
This Saturday,
12.
Yeah, because you had that seminars going on.
And that's going to be, is that in Taylor?
It's in Taylor.
Recoil Firearms.
Taylor, Tucky.
Recoil Firearms.
Yeah.
All right. If I can.
Wait, no, what do you mean? If you can.
You're on the spot now.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
Well, Rick, I'm married.
You're a free man.
No, I'm not. I'm married.
He said it. He said it, Rick. Outcast said it. Pull your guns out.
Take her with you. You know what? Take her with you. Say, look. I say, hon, let's go out to, like lunch or something. And you show up at a gun range. She's like, what kind of lunch are you talking about? Say, no, I got to see this guy for a minute. Let's check out what he's talking about, and we'll have lunch directly after at your favorite restaurant.
That's a good strategy.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant?
Yeah.
It's been a while, but have you ever been to the Gray Ghost downtown Detroit?
I don't think so. What's the cuisine there?
It's like it's small plates. So you go in there and it's like this, like lots of little small plate foods, but it's really, really good. It used to be. I haven't been there in a minute, but it's kind of near about halfway. It's off of Woodward, halfway between the Fox and the DIA on the east side of Woodward, down a little side street. But you look it up online. It's called the Gray Ghost.
I know that area. It's in my head. I know that area.
Yeah. Check it out, the Gray Ghost.
Okay. So so question for you.
Yeah.
Saturday
at noon. Okay, so yes, let's plug that before you go, Rick. Saturday, what's going on Saturday? So tell the audience. There's some people who will end up going.
Look, let me tell you, we are having an informational seminar. We're going to be talking about these new gun laws that will go live and be subject to being enforced on Valentine's Day. We're talking about red flag laws, firearms registration, firearm storage and gun registration. Brand new spanking gun laws, they go live on Valentine's Day. So when you guys are taking your wives or significant others out for brunch or something to eat, bring her on by the seminar. We have 2 of them going on, one at 12 and we have the other one at 4.
Okay.
Excellent.
Let's try to figure this out, Outcast. For
All
real.
right.
Let's try to figure something out. And we'd love to see you in person, Rick. That's awesome. I mean,
Hey, what, look, Saturday, 12.
I like it. All right. Well, you guys, listen, that was Rick Ector from legallyarmedindetroit.com. Go over there and visit him. Check out his website. Check out all his social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Look up Rick Ector. Sometimes you're called what? CCW?
Man, I even have an IMDb page.
I know. Look at you. You're a movie star.
Isn't it Detroit CCW? Is that what it is?
DetroitCCW.com. There's all kinds of stuff. So
LegallyArmedInDetroit.com, Facebook.com/DetroitCCW, YouTube.com/DetroitCCW, Twitter.com/DetroitCCW. There's a certain pattern here, right?
yes, I like it. So you can find all that stuff, you guys, if you go to LegallyArmedInDetroit.com. All his links are in there. Go out there, check it all out. We have Fire Doug says, Jesse and Outcast, let's carpool down to Taylor. That's a long way. I mean, we're getting down there by the Ohio border. So let's figure it out. Let's try to figure this thing out.
Near the Ohio border.
Yes, it does. It is for me.
Monroe is by the Ohio border, man.
Yep.
Like, where are you from, man?
I'm from way up north, brother.
What city are you in? What city are you? Wait, on the map, where are you at?
We're between Flint and Detroit.
Oh, so you just over?
Yeah, I'm 40 minutes from you. Yeah.
Oh, what's the problem?
Life. All right, let's figure something out, bro.
I've virtually known you guys 2 years now.
Yep.
That's a good point.
That's awesome. We owe it to you, Rick. We owe it to you for sure.
Saturday.
All right.
He's a tough salesman.
We're going to talk. Yeah. Somebody said they like Rick's persistence or something here.
Yeah, he's good.
Music lover. I like Rick's persistence. And that's exactly. Keep it going, Rick. Don't lose that. That's awesome.
Yeah, seriously though. That's the persistence we need in this fight, for real.
Yeah. Well, listen, Rick, it's been great having you on the show tonight. I hope the word gets out. I hope the the seminars that you're putting on and things that you're involved with are a success. I know they will be. And from one Michiganiac to another, thank you, brother, for doing all what you're doing.
Hey, man,
it's important.
Thank you both for having me on. It's an honor to be on the show. Thank you for allowing me to talk to your audience. I will see you both Saturday at 12 noon.
All right.
And my next appearance on this show, following the pattern, will be 1 year from now, next year.
No, not a year. Come on. We got to try to get you a hat.
I'm looking at our pattern, man. Look at the dates on my appearances. Look at them.
Well, I want to break the pattern. They're not set in stone. We can do what we want. We own this thing.
One is, one, you don't know what to make when something happens, right? It happens twice. Okay. Yep. Man, that's a coincidence.
Yep.
3 is a pattern.
All right. Well, this is the third one. Hey, Music Lover says, thanks for coming on, Rick. Can't wait to see pictures of you all this weekend.
You guys, and see you both Saturday.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And be safe out there. And you know what, Rick? Stay dangerous, brother. All right.
Always dangerous, man. Always dangerous.
Awesome. Love it, brother. Awesome. Hey, you guys go check him out. LegallyArmedInDetroit.com. That's Rick Ector, NRA Board of Directors member right there. Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon. See you Saturday.
Sir.
All right.
Saturday.
Good night, Rick.
All right. Good night. There he goes, Outcast. Well, what do you think? I got a still picture of you, but at least your voice is here. Your voice is live. And man, that was so cool to see him live in action right here. Everybody got to see him. I mean, that's the way to do it. I had a good time tonight, man.
He has a contagious energy. I really admire him and like him. He's cool.
Yeah, I think we had there's a lot of information that he put out there that we can't do anything about right now. Think about all those laws that are passed. What are we going to do? It's almost like there's nothing we can do anymore, other than hopefully those laws get, I don't know, can they get overturned? Don't know. I never thought in these days that I lived in that we would ever have a long gun registration.
Yeah.
Dude, we're talking about shotguns. You're talking about grandpa's shotgun.
That is so annoying. The whole thing makes me furious.
But like he said, yeah, one thing that I do like that he said is like, you know what? They're scrambling to find out what to do. They have these laws now. They have them in their hands. They just don't know what to do with them now. So I tell you what, I mean, everybody here in Michigan owns a boat, right? So, just be careful when you're on your boats that, in some sort of a boating accident, you don't lose all your guns, because that does happen a lot. So just be careful when you're out there boating around. And I boat every weekend. So, just be careful, you guys. That's all I can say. Right?
Yep. Those gun boating accidents, they happen all the time.
Listen, brother, I don't know if, somehow we got around that prayer from the beginning. We weren't able to do it. We didn't do it. We had a little bit of, nothing to do with our parts here, but, something happened. We talked about a few things here. Did you hear me talk about the Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones thing?
No, I missed that. Because I was gone for a minute trying to
you had to reboot your computer up. And did you hear me talking about Michigan, the same lawmakers, Dana Nessel, she's our AG here, the Attorney General, they're coming after homeschooling.
Oh, I didn't hear that either.
Yeah, that's one thing that I did not talk about.
Jeez,
and
infuriating.
It is, man. They're clamping down because you know why? So many people are leaving these government education systems. So they're coming after homeschooling, and it's wild. We're gonna have to get into that in a little while here in the next couple episodes.
It's interesting to see them spiral, because what's happening is they create ridiculous scenarios that people want to escape from. Then they want to impugn them for escaping. If that isn't tyranny, I don't know what is. And it also shows that how insecure they are, because they know that they do not have the hearts and the minds of the people.
Mm-hmm.
So do with that what you will. But I mean, I just look at it like it's sort of a victory, because the harder they try to clamp down, the more people realize how awful they are.
Yeah.
Nobody's going. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody. I mean, I know there's a lot of normies out there that watch Joy Behar and The View, and they think that stuff like this is great whenever tyranny comes down to people that they view as their enemies. But one day it's going to come for those people too. There's going to be a situation where they want to raise their, teach their kids at home for maybe a different reason than we do, and then they're going to say, oh no, you can't do that. Then they're going to start to understand. Hopefully, it won't be too late. But well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. It makes me furious to see what their intentions are. To see them unmasked is what we're seeing is it's disgusting. They're the ugliest people on the planet. Put it that way.
I saw one of our friends send us a text message today in the thread, and it was our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, talking about how great it is to come to Michigan, be in Michigan, be a Michigander and all that stuff. Did you watch that at all today?
I don't think I saw that.
She's all excited about being a Michigander and all the reasons to come here, and our schooling and, our parks and how great it is to be a Michigander. I'll tell you what, Gretchen Whitmer, she's our age, Outcast. She's the same age as we are.
Yep.
She's destroying what it is to be a Michigander, Michiganiac. All right. That's what you're doing out, Governor Whitmer. Gretchen.
Yep.
Stretching Gretchen. Yep. We know about your high school days. All right. We know what, listen, you're a tyrant. You're not working for the people. You're working for George Soros. You're working for globalists. You don't represent us, we the people. You're destroying what Michigan was. I'm sick of what you're doing. All right. This is your last term, your final term. Go ahead, Outcast. You know how I'm just as frustrated as you are. You're as frustrated as I am.
As you were talking, you just painted a picture in my mind. I was looking at like a map of Michigan during a typical election, and you can see how a very small minutia is actually Democrat, but it's the densest populated area. Okay, that's not my overall point, but I'm going to say that I've heard people say in the past it's a purple state. It's not a blue or red state, because you've got a lot of red areas, and then you've got little concentrations of the blue areas. Whatever. My point is, you need to be, if you really cared about the people, you want to be a governor for all the people. But
Yeah.
these people aren't like that. That's not their goal.
No.
They are totalitarian, one world order, sycophantic little
Yep.
plebes of George Soros, and they have nothing of any value for anybody. It's all about lining their own pockets and protecting their own assets and doing the bidding of the people who put them there with their money, and that's people like George Soros. I just cannot stand these vile individuals. There's not even an attempt to try to find common ground with anybody and say, hey, we all got to live together. But that shows who they are. That is the unmasking. They are a divide and conquer group. And if you look at real love, real radical agape love that we talk about on the show periodically, or I do, and you do too, what does that look like? It looks like unity. It looks like common ground. She doesn't know how to find common ground because so then my mind goes to the other parts of this. We look at Pastor Scott Mitchell, who was a guest on our show, and he's saying by the time you get to that power position, the devil's already has you. He's going to control anybody in those high positions. Right. Nobody would act like this in a sane world. Nobody would want to do this to other people. But these psychopaths, they do whatever they want. It looks like. I don't know. I'm ranting. I'm sorry. You just made me think.
They're just appreciate that you did that. They're just running roughshod over, law that used to be just typical law here, and they're running this globalist agenda on us here in our state. I never thought that it would be this way, but they're running that globalist, like you said, that one world, new world order agenda on us right here in Michigan.
Oh, by the way, I did see the video that you're talking about. It's coming back to me now. And in the end, she had a strong emphasis about the water, and she gave all these statistics about our water, which I think is the key.
Fresh water, Great Lakes,
fresh water. That's what this is about. They want control because you control the water, you control the people, just like the food.
Yep, that's Henry Kissinger said all that stuff. And he's rotting in hell right now with Satan and all those other ones down there. So, you know what? We never did get you never got a chance to say a prayer or an outgoing message. It's up to you right now. Which one you want to do? It's up to you. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. I know Rumble's been having issues. Everything is working here on my side. Everything is fine. Rick's was fine. For some reason, you're having some sort of a connection issue. Yeah. I don't know if it's or not technology. What am I thinking? The providers, cable providers, Wi-Fi providers, whatever it is. I think something's going on.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to reset my my modem or something like that. I don't know what's going on. But
maybe after the show, after you shut everything down, go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So let's get an outgoing prayer or a message for the people for the week or whatever.
What I'm going to do?
Yeah.
This could probably work as a prayer too. As a prayer reminder.
Okay.
So I'm going to read from Romans 8:35. You ready?
Yeah.
Oops. Okay.
Romans 8:35.
Yep. Who will separate us from the love of Christ? Will tribulation or trouble or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? Just as it is written, for your sake we are killed all day long. We were regarded as sheep to be slaughtered. But in all these things, we overwhelmingly conquer through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. So, this week we heard that I'm drawing a blank on her name, the woman who did Fall of the Cabal.
They can't find her right now.
We can't find her? I thought she's dead. They said she committed suicide.
Today? When that happened?
No, a couple days ago.
Oh. Okay, because last I heard that they just couldn't find her. But
really?
I don't think she.
I thought that they said that the official response was that she had committed suicide.
I'm thinking she got disappeared.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We'll get to the bottom of it, I guess. But what I'm getting at is, somebody says to me, "Doesn't that worry you?" To see somebody who's, and said, it could be concerning.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Just that passage I just read, nothing can separate us from the love of Christ.
There you go.
And nobody can touch a hair on our heads without God's permission.
Yep.
So if you are taken out, if you, Jesse, or myself, or if anything happens to us, that is an act of God. That's within God's will. Then maybe I know there will be a greater purpose in it, but He won't allow it either. I mean, look, for example, look at Biffermack.
Yeah, your brother. Yeah.
Right. Look at how the odds were so stacked against him, and he makes a full recovery like he did.
Oh.
I have no doubt in the power of God, and especially when it comes to the ones that He loves and that He knows. And so I just I thought that scripture was kind of profound. I mean, whatever. Let's say we're under attack tonight with the glitches in the podcast. I don't know if it's us. It sounds like a lot of people are having trouble, but whatever is going on, we are in God's hands. We always have been. We always will be. So. Whatever happened to, man, I'm mad at myself for forgetting her name. I didn't think I was going to forget her name. She's got her last name almost sounds like Osborne, but it's Oz.
It starts with an S, right? Her first name.
It's not Sharon, is it?
I thought it was. Yeah, something like that.
I mean, now I'm thinking of Sharon Osbourne. But anyways, but she, she did tremendous work. I mean, it just sheds the spotlight on her work to get rid of her. But I guarantee you she wasn't suicidal. There's no way that
no,
woman was
not
suicidal.
at all. Just like Isaac Cappy was not suicidal. He even told people.
Fire Duck says Janet.
Yeah, thank you, Fire Duck. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, what an incredible documentary series that she put out that has awakened so many people, myself included.
Ozabard.
Thank you. Ozabard? Janet
Ozabard, right there. Yeah, thank you, Fire Dog. Yes, that's who it was. So, yeah, you're talking about Fall of the Cabal. You guys, if you haven't watched that, go out there, search it up. Fall of the Cabal. Janet Ozabard.
To be clear, too, there is the first version that she did is Fall of the Cabal, and it's a 10-part documentary series. It's quite long.
Yep.
It is the perfect thing for waking up a normie friend who's on the brink, ready to wake up. She outlines everything so perfectly, but it takes time to get through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then she did the sequel to Fall of the Cabal, and it's the origins of the Cabal. And that's, I think, at least a 2 or 3 part series in itself, talking about where the origins of the central bankers in antiquity. And Dr. Robin McCutcheon touched on it when she was on our show a couple of weeks ago, too.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Man, what a bunch of great people we've had on the show recently.
Oh, I know.
Man, we've been on fire. Yeah.
With Rick today, too, I was thinking to myself, imagine, I don't know when or how we're going to do this. I mean, with our jobs, everything is so hard. But imagine if we had like a little weekend seminar, like Dangerous Info seminar, where people could come in and do a meet and greet, and we could invite people like Rick in and speak. Have a little podium time with different people. That'd be a blast.
I like that idea, but I think ahead of that, we just need to have a meetup, a Dangerous Info meetup somewhere in a neutral location. People have talked about that. Yeah. Hamhock wants a meetup. Yeah, but you got to be in Michigan. Yeah, you got to come to Michigan because we're not going that far yet. I would love that. But, as we're growing, the podcast is growing. We're doing things. We need more support, though, Outcast. We need more support. We're so busy working all the time. I would love to be able to be less busy working and to be more busy doing this if we had more support doing that stuff. And, I appreciate everybody sharing and doing what they're doing. That's great. We need that. But, it comes down to, we have bills to pay and things to take care of, right? We got to keep running our households and all that stuff. So, but that's the direction we want to go, right?
But like you said, but back to your original point of all the great people we've had. Local heroes like I hate to gush over them, but Fire Doug here,
Oh, brother Doug, yeah,
yeah, righteous guy. Just like I look forward to the when I get to meet him in person. There's Hamhock. Everybody. But even just people on the show too. Darn it, I can't even remember them all off the top of my head. But from Scott Mitchell to Dr. Laura Sanger to Sister Verita to Rick Ector to, next week I hope you guys
JC
enjoy.
and Sean, Dr. Sean and JC Hall, all them.
Dr. Sean, yeah, so many cool people. If we went down the list, I think we'd be just in awe of the cool people that we've had experiences with. And then hopefully next week, my pastor, Gabriel Parker, hopefully he's gonna become part of the family, and you guys are gonna love him too.
Yeah, I think you guys will. So, as far as I've watched some videos of him that you sent me.
Did you like what you saw?
For sure. He's got the fire, he's got the energy, the passion, all that. So, That's next week, you guys. Pastor Gabe. That's what, we got to figure out the show and the title and the artwork and all that stuff. But we'll get it all done.
I was thinking about giving him some parameters of like a direction to go in for the show, but at the same time, I know that this happens frequently. He will start to channel a message that God gives him on the spot based on what God's telling him to talk about. And sometimes the surprise is better than what he had planned.
So he's in tune with that gut feeling then.
Oh, big time. Yep.
Good.
In fact, it was funny. I had a guy, a friend of mine named Casey, come to church, and Casey was the first time he was there. And I saw Casey just taking notes and notes and notes through the whole sermon. And afterwards, Pastor Gabe and him were talking, and Gabe said, I don't know for a sermon plan, but God downloaded a separate message to me to give out today. And Casey was like, well, that's crazy because everything you were saying was pertaining to what I'm going through in my life right now. Look at all my notes. He had like pages of notes from the sermon.
Wow.
So it's almost like God tailor-made a sermon through Gabriel for Casey. I watched it unfold. It was crazy.
Man, that's awesome. Well, look, brother, I mean, that's what we need to do. We got to share it and get it out there and keep doing the thing. We're going to keep at it. And so you said your message, which I liked, and
you still want a prayer?
Well, if you got something short, everybody loves a prayer. By the time we get out of here, do that, and then I'll do my outro, and then we're gonna get out of here, you guys.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for everything that you've done and are doing and about to do, not only in the world, in our country, in our states, in our personal lives. We thank you for how you move in those unique and subtle ways that are almost hard to detect until you unfold your plan, and then we're just in awe of how you work. We ask that you just set yourself free in our lives this week. Just call upon us and guide us in the directions you want us to go, and know that we love you, Lord, and know that we seek to know you more intimately. And we can't thank you enough for your provision and meeting us in our need and erasing our past so we can have a new future with you. We thank you, Lord, for your encouragement daily, healing us of our pain and trauma from our past, and helping us to conquer generational curses and strongholds of iniquity from our past so that we can rise up and be active individuals for your kingdom. We thank you for the blood of Jesus Christ and his sacrifice on the cross that tore the veil. And we thank you that he was resurrected 3 days later, conquering the grave and just crushing the head of the serpent, defiling the plans of those who thought that his death was their victory. Lord, you can turn any situation around, turn it on its head, and just have a laugh at those who thought that they were in control. Lord, we look forward to seeing your justice meted out upon evil in this world. And we thank you for your participation in this podcast on a weekly basis. We thank you for how you're working in Jesse's life, in my life, in Rick Ector's life, and every other guest we've had on here, and everybody watching right now. We love you, Lord. We ask that you help us to see other people in that radical agape way of love that you see us in. We pray that you'll give that to us so we can see others, even if they're quirky and strange in some ways. We pray that you'll help us to look past that and just look upon them with love. And we pray that this love that you've given us will conquer this evil in this world that seeks to divide and conquer. Lord, thank you for helping us to just to erase all the boundaries that they're trying to set up for us, and letting us all come together in unity in pursuit of truth and love and in the pursuit of you. In Jesus Christ's holy name, I pray all these things. Amen.
Amen, brother. Thank you. And hopefully it goes a little bit smoother next week. I don't know what that was up front on your end there, but I think it worked out. Music lover says, thank you, Outcast. Excellent.
Thank you,
Amen.
Lover.
Fire Doug. Yes. So yeah, we're going to get together. A lot of good things coming up, you guys. So thanks, Outcast. I want to thank you, Outcast, for being here and doing all your prayers and all the input and everything that you do, brother. That's been awesome. Also, a big thank you to Rick Ector. You guys go find him over there on legallyarmedindetroit.com. And also Rick Ector, just type his name in Instagram and Facebook. It'll come up. Let me see. Switch. Yeah, we'll figure out all the stuff here for being moderators and all that stuff. So just, you guys go down there. Thanks, all the chat room people. Thank you guys for sharing the show and inputs. And, that's fun having all you guys in here doing all this stuff live. It's great. Also, you guys read the description of tonight's show. Down there down below there, you're going to find out all the show notes and relevant information there is to reach us. And also on social media, you can find us on True Social, Instagram, Gab, Rumble, Twitter, and Telegram. So go over there and check us out, you guys. It's fun. Also, my mailing list as well for the show. Dangerous Info Podcast at protonmail.com. Get on there, be a member of our mailing list, because when social media goes down, I guess it's email, right? We can't call you unless we have your phone number, but check out our email, all right? Dangerous Info Podcast, protonmail.com. Become a mailing list subscriber. Also, join us here live every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's when we're doing it. We're doing it every Monday night, you guys, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I just want to say big thanks again for listening to the show. I'm Jesse James. He's Outcast. And he was Rick Ector tonight. And you guys go through the week. Remember to be bold, be courageous, stay alert, and don't fall for the government media complex propaganda. It's coming at you at every level in your life. I know you guys see it. There's all kinds of solutions to this. It's up to you guys to act on those solution ideas. I know you guys can do it. We love you guys. God bless. Stay dangerous, my Patriot friends. Stay dangerous and good night.